Good evening, folks. Welcome to the 8th grade curriculum night with Honesdale High School. We really appreciate that you are able to join us. We are recording this presentation so that folks can access it at a later date, or folks who missed it tonight will be able to access that. I'm going ahead, sharing the screen. So hopefully everyone sees a PowerPoint presentation that we've got with our curriculum night and a lot of the important information. So we welcome you again, and we would very much like to make your next 4 years at Honesdale High School very successful. And so without any further ado, we'll go ahead and get you started on the path where you will be able to decide what courses and what pathways and what careers you may be interested in pursuing. All right, so I will turn it over to Mrs. Scarfilato, our Director of Career Pathways, our Principal of Career Pathways, so that she can begin our presentation tonight.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Mrs. Scarfilato, and I am the Director of Career Pathways for the Wayne Highlands School District. I, along with Mrs. Lutad, whom you will hear from a little bit further into the presentation, she is our Career Pathways Coordinator, and the two of us together work hard to oversee our career education programs at Honesdale High School. Next slide, Mr. Petro. At Honesdale High School, we currently have 4 established programs of study, which are also our career and tech ed programs. We have a carpentry program that's a 2-year program and is for kids in grades 11 and 12. We have a diversified occupations program, which is for our 12th graders only. That's like our school to work program. We have an agriculture program that is super popular. That is for students in grades 9 through 12. So our freshmen can enter directly right into that program. And we also have a health professions program, and that's for our students in grades 10 through 12. And Mrs. Park will talk to you a little bit about that program. If you're interested in it, there's a few things that you need to be aware of in your freshman year for requirements that you do have to take that are a little bit different than the rest of the kids. Next slide, please. Our career and tech ed program teachers are for our carpentry program, Mr. Rickard. For diversified occupations is Mr. Ahern. Our agriculture teacher is Mrs. Poley, and our health professions teacher is Mrs. Park. Next slide, please. So why would you want to choose a career and technical education program? A career and technical education program really prepares kids for a specific pathway once they graduate from Honesdale High School. A lot of the things that we do at Honesdale High School prepare you for a pathway, but these programs and career and tech ed programs are much more specific to one particular area. Our programs do align nicely with our local colleges and institutions, lining you up with some free credits if you're a completer of our programs. So it does end up saving you some time if you take advantage of those free credits. And of course, it saves your parents money because the credits are free and you don't have to pay for them once you decide to go off to college into one of those particular programs. The other great thing about our career and tech ed programs, along with some of our other programs, is that we focus a lot on certifications specific to those particular career pathways and programs. So you do come out with some job skills specific to those programs and certifications specific to those programs that make you marketable immediately into the workforce if you decide to do that right out of Honesdale High School. Next slide, please. Our first program is our carpentry program. Again, this is a 2-year program. It's with Mr. Rickard. And there are 2 classes that are required for this program. It's for students entering in the 11th grade year. You would go into your Wood Tech Residential Construction 2 class. And then in the 12th grade year, you would be in the Wood Tech Residential Construction 3 class. We do offer the OSHA certification in this program. Mr. Rickard does do the step ladder safety and scaffolding safety certifications for this too. And our Local college that we do have free credits with is Johnson College. There's a total of 7 free credits with Johnson College. We also this year entered into a dual enrollment agreement with Johnson College for an English for the trades class that goes nicely with this program as well. So if you are a student that's interested in pursuing carpentry as a career, this is a really great opportunity for you, and a program that I would strongly suggest you look into. Next slide, please. Our agriculture program is a 4-year program. This is the one program that our freshmen are permitted to enter directly into, and we encourage you to try it out. Agriculture is such a vast industry. There's so many different things associated with agriculture. If you like to eat, you are involved in something related to agriculture. Mrs. Pulley has done a really great job of streamlining this program. In the freshman year, you would be looking at Introduction to Agriculture, Food and Natural Resources. That is a full year course. This is mostly freshmen that do take this, but however, sometimes if there's room, we do have some other grade levels taking this. Our horticulture program is a 2 periods a day, full year course. This is generally taken in the 10th or 11th grade year. The animal science class is another full year, 2 periods a day, back to back. So it's a 90-minute block of time that you would spend with Mrs. Pulley. Again, this class is taken in the 10th or 11th grade year. Agricultural mechanics, engineering, and technology is a half-year course, generally taken in the 11th or 12th grade year. Forestry and natural resources, again, generally taken in the 11th or 12th grade year, another half-year course. And then each year of this program, you have the opportunity to be involved in a supervised agriculture experience, which it's an experience that you totally just completely engulf yourself in agriculture. It's something that is done outside of the regular school day. Mrs. Pulley is available for you to consult with throughout the year regarding this experience, but our kids that truly take advantage of this get a ton out of it and truly do enjoy it very much. Certifications for this program is our OSHA certification and our Youth Pork Quality Assurance certification as well. Any of you that are in 4-H, that is one of the certifications that really helps you in grading your animals and things of that nature. We do have some really great agreements with Lackawanna College related to this program. We have free SOAR credits through Lackawanna College, and then we have dual enrollment credits through Lackawanna College as well related to this program. Next slide, please. With our agriculture program, as well as with all of our programs, we do have student organizations that go along with it, and FFA is our student organization that goes along with our agriculture program. We have a ton of kids that are active in our FFA, and we also just built a state-of-the-art greenhouse. It's 2,500 square feet. It's a beautiful facility, really allows you a lot of hands-on learning directly related to agriculture, planting, and growing systems and things of that nature. We have the aquaponics system set up in the greenhouse as well. You know, just all around really great state-of-the-art learning experiences offered to our students through our agriculture program. Next slide, please. Our health professions program is, I'm going to turn that over to Mrs. Park so she can talk specifically about this program, because I think she'll really do it. It's true diligence in explaining to you how great this program is.
Hi, so Health Professions is a 3-year program starting sophomore year. Health Professions 1, all 3 years are 96-minute periods, so they're block period, 2 periods. Health Professions 1, we start off learning about the basics of healthcare, infection prevention, legal and ethical aspects of healthcare. The entire second half of level 1 is spent on medical terminology, learning the different body systems and diseases and conditions that coordinate with the medical terminology. Clinical for level 1 is spent at Bethany Village, working on communication skills. Level 2 is, again, another full year, 2 periods, 96 minutes. Focus on level 2 is more skill-based, learning vital signs, bed making, resident care. Level 3 is a full year as well, 96 minutes. And level 3 is based primarily on the 120-hour nurse aid training course for Pennsylvania, so you get that certification. The sciences that go along with the health professions program, as a sophomore, you're required to take anatomy and physiology. As a junior, you can take inorganic chemistry or science for the health professions, depending on which career path you want to go. There are 6 certifications you'll receive throughout the 3 years in the health professions program. The OSHA 10-hour training, American Heart Bloodborne Pathogens, American Heart CPR, it's BLS CPR, American Heart First Aid, Direct Care Staff Training, and then the Pennsylvania Nurse Aid Training Program. We do recommend, if you plan on taking this program, and anybody interested in a health professions, I highly recommend at least take the level 1 course to see if it's something that interests you. We do recommend you taking either double gyms your freshman year, get your driver's ed in your freshman year, because it is really hard if you plan on taking all 3 years to fit all of the requirements in for graduation with those. So I do encourage you to speak with your guidance counselors to make sure that if you plan on taking this program of study, you fit what you need into freshman year in order to get all 3 years if you wish to do so. I'm going to let Mrs. Scarpolato talk a little bit more about the SOAR credits and the articulation agreements, because I think she can explain them a little bit better than I can.
So we have entered into some really great agreements with Lackawanna College. You know, back in the day when I was going to college, I didn't realize how great Lackawanna College was going to become, but today they're the real deal. Lackawanna College offers a ton of medical field, health profession programs. If you look at the bottom of this slide, you will see just a few of the different programs that Lackawanna College does offer. They do have a nursing program as well now, and they have the PT one listed out here. They have an OT program as well. Just really, really great medical programs at close proximity to us. And if you're a completer of this program, and you decide to go into the vascular technology program at Lackawanna College, you would end up taking 6 free credits with you to that program. Same thing with the cardiac sonography program and the diagnostic medical sonography. Just really, really great programs and opportunities. Again, saving you time and your parents money, because those are all free credits if you decide to go to Lackawanna College and major in one of those particular programs. Next slide, please. Our Diversified Occupations program is really something that's specific for only our 12th graders, but if it's something that you're interested in doing in your 12th grade year, you really do need to make sure that you line yourself up over the next 3 years so that you are prepared and ready to take the classes associated with this program. In order for you to be involved in this program over the next 3 years, you have to take and pass all of your graduation requirements so that when you come back in your 12th grade year, you only need your English, your social studies, and your physical education class, so that you can take your diversified occupations in 3rd period, and then you can go out to work for the rest of the time. Again, with this particular program, you earn your OSHA general certification. And we have an agreement with Lackawanna College where you can get 3 free credits if you're a completer of this program and decide to go to Lackawanna College and major in one of their programs. Next slide, please. We used to have 2 more programs, career and tech ed programs through Honesdale High School. We used to have an accounting program and an administrative assisting program. However, due to low enrollment and things of that nature, those programs are no longer approved by the Department of Education. But again, because we have such great agreements and work so closely with Lackawanna College, they recognize that the good sequencing of courses that we do offer at Honesdale High School do put our kids into good shape to be able to receive some credits through Lackawanna College. So any of our kids that might be interested in an accounting degree from Lackawanna College, a business administration degree, sports management degree, or the gas and well drilling technology degree from Lackawanna College, you may want to consider taking that sequencing of courses that's listed on this particular slide. Your Accounting 1, Accounting 2, Business Law, Career Prep, Computer Essentials, and Business Principles and Management. If you take and pass that sequencing of courses, then you are eligible for those free credits at Lackawanna College. You are eligible for 15 free credits towards the accounting program, 15 free credits towards the business administration program, 12 free credits to the sports management program, and 6 free credits in the gas and well drilling technology program. So really great offerings through Lackawanna College. I almost feel like I'm an advertisement for Lackawanna College because of how much I'm talking about them, but they just partner well with us and offer our students a lot of great opportunity. Next slide, please. The other program, it's not an approved program through the Department of Education, but we have an outstanding welding program at Honesdale High School as well. We've worked very closely with Johnson College to set us up for some dual enrollment coursework with Johnson College for some of our metal classes. Any of our kids that are looking at becoming welders and going to Johnson College to be enrolled in their welding program, this is a really great opportunity for you to take advantage of. Our welding sequence is our Metal Tech 1, Metal Tech 2, and our precision machining and advanced welding. Any of our kids that decide on this career pathway and enter into our Metal Tech 2 class, you will be eligible for 6 credits of dual enrollment through Johnson College. Dual enrollment is their credits that you do pay for. It's $100 per credit, but our Metal 2 class is worth 6 credits at Johnson College. You would pay $600 and you would actually have college credit when you finish up that course at the end of your 10th or 11th grade year. Then we offer another set of dual enrollment credits, 3 credits for precision machining and advanced welding. Again, for those kids that are looking to go into welding at Johnson College, this is a huge money saver. Dual enrollment credits at Johnson College are $100 per credit. And if you were to take these classes straight up after you graduate from Honesdale High School, the regular tuition rate at Johnson College this year is $560 per credit. So it's really a huge savings for you if you know that welding is the direction you want to go in. Next slide, please. Honesdale High School does offer additional career programs. We offer so much to our kids. So my best advice to you is to really take advantage of these great opportunities that we do offer up. We offer Power Tech 1 and 2. We offer many different classes in the culinary arts. And then in the fine arts, we offer a ton of different offerings as well, from pottery to photography to yearbook to computer graphics. There's just a lot of things that we do offer to our students. Next slide. If you are interested in any of these different programs, you need to talk to your parents. You need to talk to your guidance counselor. You need to talk to them about some of the different classes you may need. Again, that health professions, if you are interested in entering into that in your 10th grade year, you need to make sure that you're scheduling your driver education in your freshman year. Super important. Otherwise, it's going to be very, very difficult for you to get that in throughout the remainder of your high school career. Next slide, please.
I'd like to thank Mrs. Scarfilato very much for her presentation. Really appreciate it. At this point, I'd like to just introduce myself, Chris Petroszewski. I have the honor of serving as the principal at Honesdale High School. My trusty sidekick is Mr. Kretschmer, our assistant principal. And our guidance counselors, Mrs. Amy Neugebauer, she's the guidance counselor for students with last names A through G. Mr. Paul Reiprich is our guidance counselor for students whose last names are H through O. And then Mrs. Paige Pinto is the guidance counselor for students whose last names are letters P through Z. So those are tremendous resources that you will be able to use throughout your high school career. The 5 of us will be very helpful to you, as will all of our faculty and staff. One topic that I'd briefly like to touch on are the Keystone Exams. I think as 8th grade students, many of you have taken PSSA exams throughout your career in Pennsylvania, and particularly in Wayne Highlands, in the 3rd grade through the 8th grade. I know last year there was a little bit of a hiatus and there were no PSSAs last year. The Keystone Exams are very similar to the PSSAs. They are taken at the end of a course. The algebra Keystone Exam is taken at the end of your algebra class. Some of you are taking algebra or are taking algebra in the 8th grade right now. And so as of now, you would be slated to take that Keystone Exam at the conclusion of your 8th grade year. Others of you might not take algebra until the 9th grade, and then you would take the exam at the end of the 9th grade. And some of you may spread out the algebra course over a 2-year cycle, which can be very beneficial for certain students. And so then you would take the algebra Keystone Exam at the end of the sophomore year. Our English literature class is in the 10th grade, and that's the course that prepares you the most for the English literature Keystone Exam. And then the biology class, all students will take biology in their 9th grade year, and they'll take the biology Keystone at the end of that 9th grade year. You do need to pass all 3 exams in order to graduate. However, you do have unlimited attempts to be able to take those exams in your freshman through your junior school years. There are also other combinations that we can discuss at a later time in terms of fulfilling graduation requirements. So for now, I just wanted to touch on the Keystone Exam.
Hello, this is Mrs. Neugebauer speaking. As Mr. Petruszewski mentioned, I will be working with students whose last names start with the letters A through G. I'm going to follow up on what Mrs. Scarfalato was talking about. She talked about our wonderful career and technical education programs at Honesdale High School, which would fall under one of our 5 pathway options. And so for students that are not going to pursue one of the CTE programs, we have 5 other career pathway options. And as you can see from the slide before you, the career clusters that share similar characteristics and common employment requirements. So I want to give a plug to our middle school counselors, Mrs. Murray, Mr. Diefenbach, and Mrs. Grease. They've been working very hard with your students with our new career program, Smart Futures. We're very proud of that program, and hopefully your students have come home and shared the program with you. The counselors are working with your children to help determine which pathway they are going to pursue at the high school, which in turn is going to help when they select their courses coming into the 9th grade. And what is wonderful about our new Smart Futures program is it aligns with Pennsylvania State's career education and work standards. So our 5 pathway options are arts and humanities, and arts and humanities would fall under the categories of art, music, those types of careers. We have business and information technology, and Mrs. Scarfalato mentioned some of the great programs through that pathway with Lackawanna College. So that business and information technology pathway, careers as bookkeepers all the way up to certified accountants and management. We have technology and engineering education. So many of our programs in the career and technology education department that Mrs. Scarfalato talked about, the welding, woodworking, architecture, lots of careers under that particular pathway. We have human services, so the health occupations program. Any student that's interested in going into the helping profession of any sort would fall under that category. And then lastly, we have science and health. And again, that could be anything from food service all the way up to becoming a surgeon, physician's assistant, nursing. So we have a wide variety of programming at the high school, And in the curriculum guide, you will be able to see the various pathways and what courses students should take under each pathway. And what is nice is that students are not committed to one pathway. Many of our courses cross over all of the pathways. So we encourage your students to get out there and explore, get some experiences, and discover their likes and dislikes to help them in their career planning. And not only are we at the high school helping students prepare for their future careers and training beyond high school, but they also have to earn certain credits that are required in order to receive their Honesdale High School diploma. And those credits, as you can see, are for English credits, for social studies, 3 math, 3 science, including biology, which all 9th graders take, 2 arts and humanities credits, 4 courses in physical education, 9th grade health, 10th grade driver's education, and 11th grade health with CPR certification. They do have to complete a career graduation project. We do offer an elective that I'm sure Mrs. Lutat will talk about later in this presentation. It's called Career Prep, and that will help students. It won't get them 100% completed with their graduation project, but it will certainly give them a great head start. It's not a mandatory course, but we encourage students, if they have room in their schedule, to take that. And as Mr. Petruszewski mentioned, students must pass their 3 Keystone exams. The counselors work very closely with your students, helping to make sure that they are earning all of the required credits. But we encourage the students and the parents to utilize the Student Information System, otherwise known as SIS, and all of their grading, attendance, and their transcript is located on that system. So at the end of each year, you will be able to see how many credits your son or daughter has earned.
Hi, good evening. My name is Paige Pinto. I am one of the high school guidance counselors, and I have last names P through Z. And just want to welcome all of the 8th grade students, and I look forward to meeting you next year. So I just want to discuss the core course levels. We have practical level courses, regular, we have college prep, and we also have honors level courses as well as AP classes. So practical level course, that course meets 5 times a week. It's a 1 credit course. It is slowed down a little bit. There's sometimes in those classes, maybe it's a little bit less vocabulary that would be covered in, say, a regular English class. In terms of a practical English class, maybe there would be a little less reading that would be required. Key critical content would be covered in that practical level course, and a lot of in-class assignments would be done and work with the teacher and the students. And in some cases, partnering happening. Obviously in COVID, not so much, but when things are back to normal, partnering does happen quite a bit, and working together. And sometimes it could be a simpler version of a book that would be required for the reading. When you're talking in terms of a regular paced English class, we could use that again, meeting 5 times a week. It is weighted higher than a practical level course. Like in terms of an English 2 class, you would be taking a Keystone at the end of the 10th grade year. Same for the practical level. Keystones are required for those classes, and in some of the other core content areas that Mr. Petruszewski mentioned prior. When you're talking in terms of a college prep class, that is the same weight as a regular paced course, but it is more intensified in the sense that you might have more papers to write in preparation for college, for that college planning, for the higher level of a core course later on. And when you speak in terms of honors and AP, Mr. Petruszewski, if we could actually just advance to that next slide so I can elaborate on the requirements. Thank you. When you're talking about honors courses and recommendations for those classes, they are weighted higher than a regular class. And those recommendations will be coming at the end of the school year. And as you can see on this slide here, when you're talking in terms of an honors geometry course, the requirements to get recommended into that class would be a 95% or higher for a final grade in your Algebra 1 class. I know we have a lot of 8th graders currently taking Algebra 1 right now. So again, you want to strive to hit a 95 or higher to get that recommendation. We also have a group of kids in 8th grade right now that are taking a geometry class. So if they are interested in going into the next level, which would be an honors Algebra 2, the benchmark that those students taking geometry would need to hit is a 95% or higher. In terms of honors English, you're looking at scores of a 95% or higher in your reading and also in that language arts class. So you have 2 benchmarks that you're needing to meet. And the honors world history and geography, you need to have a high, a 95% or higher. And then the same for the honors bio. So when you speak about honors courses specifically, let's talk about honors biology for a minute. So that class actually is meeting 6 times a week. So we have 5 days in a week, but one day your child would go for a double block period of time. So your child could get the lab built in. So in terms of honors courses, it's there's definitely a higher increased workload. There is definitely more independent study and effort and skills that are being put forth. And that's when, you're also seeing the increased workload and also that extra weight, which is being given to those honors courses. You want to choose those classes wisely. You want to think about what it is you're doing after school in those evening hours. Are you committed to a sport? Are you in multiple sports? Do you work? What does that evening commitment, those commitments look like for you? Do you have extra time to devote and commit to an increased level of work and assignments that you will have to, strive for in those higher level classes? So, talking in terms of this, sit down with your folks, have a conversation, and write out the pros and cons and what makes you think that this would be a good idea to go into those higher level courses. Think about future plans. Think about your interest areas. Mrs. Neugebauer talked about your pathway options. Think about the things that you want to do in the future. And in terms of selectivity with colleges, do you need to take these honors courses? What doors will remain open for you when you do take more? And you don't have to take all 4. You could take 1, you could take 2. Again, talking points for you and your folks. And what will happen at the end of the year is your guidance counselor will send home letters. And at that point, if you have an invitation to go into an honors class, you can accept or you can decline based on the invitation. And again, it all depends on those benchmarks. And PSSAs are also used as a determining factor. So just looking to make sure I hit all those points. Okay. I think we can move on to the next slide, please. So the prerequisites and fees. So you want to look through that 21-22 curriculum guide, and you want to get your eyes on the courses that are offered to the 9th graders. And you want to make sure, if there's fees that are imposed when you take this course, let's talk in terms of like a pottery course. If you're going to take pottery, typically it's $30 per semester. That's, paying for the clay, your equipment in order to work the clay and create this wonderful project. So you want to, think in terms of, do my folks have the money for me to take that course? And if I'm going to take, a level 1 and a level 2, now that's $60. Do I have, do we have the money for that? So again, another great conversation to have when you're planning out that course selection. And as you move through the years in high school, you want to pay close attention to prerequisites. If you look to the green highlighted area, it's talking in terms of Metal Tech 2 requiring a prereq of a final grade of a B in Metal Tech 1. So if I'm a Metal Tech 1 student and I want to progress to Metal 2, I needed to have a B in my level 1 course, and I also needed to take drafting 1, and I also needed to achieve a C+ in that course. So as you read through the curriculum guide, pay special attention to classes that you need to take prior to a second level, and also what grade that you do definitely need to obtain. Okay, I think that I covered it. Very good. I'll turn it over to the English department. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Pinto. I'll take care of the English department tonight. Pretty simple and straightforward. As a freshman, you'll be taking English 1. Sophomore, you would look forward to English 2. Junior, English 3, and a senior, English 4. Just some variations to go over with you. Your freshman year, you could be eligible for an honors course, as Mrs. Pinto described, if you meet those benchmarks. Most freshmen will probably be taking a regular English 1 class, and some students who need a little bit additional support to ensure their success may be in a practical level English 1 class. A little bit more variation as you get into the English 3 level, your junior year. There is an AP class called AP Language and Composition that is available to you. At the conclusion of the year, your junior year, you would take the AP Language and Composition AP exam, and scoring well on that AP exam could potentially earn you credits toward particular colleges. So that's something that you would also want to think about. As Mrs. Scarfilato alluded to earlier, we have many dual enrollment credits with a lot of local colleges and universities. And those dual enrollment credits do help ultimately save you on your total collegiate bill. AP courses like AP Language and Composition are something else that could save you a significant amount of money as you proceed through college. In the English 4 level, when you are a senior, there's an AP Literature and Composition exam as well. That course would precede that exam. And so that's a beneficial course to you. We also have some new classes that are offered senior year. Irish literature, which is a half a year, is usually paired with non-Western literature, which is the other half of the year. And Mr. Kevin Lockwood has been teaching those 2 classes for the past couple of years. So those are pretty new and are developing a growing following. Mrs. Burley, 2 years ago, taught a college research and writing class. It's a class that meets 3 times a week all year long, and it wraps around your 2-day-a-week senior year phys ed. And that college research and writing class, really, even though it goes all year long, it's a little bit more than a half of a credit, which when you pair that with Irish literature or non-Western literature would be more than a full credit. So that would meet your senior English requirement. But more importantly, that college research and writing class, very helpful if you do plan to pursue post-secondary education. As Mrs. Scarfilato mentioned, we also have a class, English for the Trades, offered senior year for students that are more inclined to go on to vocational training or even directly into the workforce. And it helps them with skills such as writing emails and other publications that are associated with business and trades. Mr. Jason Macy has a very strong creative writing program here at Honesdale High School. One of the extracurriculars includes our publication that comes out periodically called The Midnight Fridge, which is a compilation of various essays and poems and short stories and other literary works. So these are many of the offerings that we have in our English department.
Hi, everybody. I'm Sean Gehring. I am one of our social studies teachers here at the high school. And I just want to kind of allude that this isn't just history classes anymore. We're really kicking it up a notch here at the high school when we look at what is offered within our social studies curriculum. At the 9th grade level, your students coming in would take world history and geography. And of course, there are the 3 levels there, the honors, the regular, and the practical. That's a class that focuses around our world, looking at geographical areas within the world and the history and the cultures behind those areas. And really, we tie that into how we as a country here in the United States, what our role is in the world and how we interact with those other countries. At the 10th grade level, we move into civics and government, and again, practical and regular levels there, as well as an honors AP, government and politics. So civics and government level, that is a fantastic class. That's one of the classes that I teach personally. And we look at our role as citizens in the United States and what it means to be a good citizen. And how we interact with our government, and we study our government. We go through all the aspects of it. We've had a lot of great discussions in classes over the past few months here concerning the election and what that means, and looking at our political system and our involvement in that. That's a really great class, and the kids really, really enjoy that class. And in a normal year, that's the class where we take the field trip to Washington, D.C. So we actually get to tour Washington, D.C., our nation's capital, and see all the things that we're talking about. And so that would be available for students enrolled in that one in their 10th grade year. 11th grade, we come into U.S. history and geography and looking at our history as a nation. So once they kind of understand how our government is set up, now we can look at the decisions that we made, what things we did as a country that's created our history. And that is right from our founding and the signing of the Constitution in 1787, right on through to present day almost. We come right up and we talk about those major issues in U.S. history and how that impacts us. And hopefully we learn from those decisions and we study those in that sense. In their 12th grade year, there's economics and contemporary issues. Again, one of the classes that I currently teach. Contemporary issues is a course that really looks ahead at the future. We kind of take a step back and we look at really the last 30 to 40 years of American history and focus on issues that are emerging today, in the 21st century here, looking at healthcare and education and the global economy and terrorism and healthcare issues, the global pandemic. And we study these issues and we look at how we as a country and how the rest of the world has responded to those things and what we can do moving forward to hopefully, make the world a better place. And I always comment to the kids in this class that I'm always amazed at how seniors in high school can solve so many of the world's problems, and they're legitimate ways to do that. It would be nice if the rest of the world could hear what our kids are able to come up with and what those ideas are. From those contemporary issues, then we transition into economics and we study, economic systems, supply and demand. We look at some tax laws and banking systems. So really all things that as seniors heading out and beyond high school, whether it's into college or the workforce or the military, skills that they will need and that will prepare them for a successful future. If in their 12th grade year, they don't have to take, the contemporary issues. If they took the honors AP 11 in their 11th grade year, they would simply pick up with the honors AP history 12. So that's a 2-year course, really. What's also great about the social studies program is our electives. And we offer some fantastic electives, looking at psychology. And there we do have dual enrollment agreements with our psychology classes. Other electives that are offered is history through films, American leadership, looking at American presidents and just leaders around the world, and how we interacted and how their decisions impacted our history. Economic entrepreneurship is a great way for students interested in learning kind of how to start their own business. It's a great way for them to kind of learn those aspects and what it takes to run a successful business on their own. We have America's wars, we have the 80s, the 90s, the 2000s, and ancient world. So there's a lot of stuff that we offer here in the social studies department. And these are all courses that really bring increased rigor. And there are greater expectations here in the high school than what a lot of students are used to in the middle school. We do have a 90% homework policy, and our goal is really to make you self-motivated learners and to help we want your students to be successful in that, but that also requires the additional studying and putting in some of that extra time. It's not the same courses and the same experience that they've had in the middle school. So it's something that we're very proud of here, and we encourage you to kind of look and explore into those other electives that are offered out there in the social studies department.
Thanks, Mr. Gehring. I'll be representing the mathematics this evening. For most of you as freshmen, you will, if you have not taken algebra yet, you will probably be taking some type of an algebra class as a freshman. You might be in our 2-year cycle where you take Introduction to Algebra your freshman year, and then Algebra 1 Traditional in your sophomore year. And then you take the Keystone at the conclusion of that sophomore year. Most of you who have not already completed algebra, you'll take the Algebra 1 UCSMP class, and that Algebra 1 class will conclude at the end of your freshman year, and you would take the Keystone at that time. For those of you who've already taken Algebra 1 as 8th graders, you would move on to a geometry class. It could be the honors geometry or our regular geometry class then as a freshman. And I do know that there are some middle school students, I believe right now, who are in geometry. And so you'd be looking at coming into honors algebra 2 or algebra 2 here at Honesdale High School. Hopefully that gives you some idea of what to expect coming into the high school as a freshman in terms of the math class that you would take. As you proceed through the years at Honesdale, you probably will complete an algebra class, a geometry class, and an algebra 2 class. You may complete 2 years of algebra and 1 geometry class, something like that. For those of you who are up for a little bit more of a challenge, or you're looking for a career where math skills are required for job success or admission to colleges, you may be looking at Algebra 3, Pre-Calculus and Trigonometry. We have an honors Pre-Calculus and Trigonometry class. We have Statistics and AP Statistics. We also have AP Calculus AB offered here at Honesdale High School. And those classes are lined up with a lot of the statistics and the calculus class, as well as Algebra 3. Those classes are lined up with dual enrollment as well at a lot of local colleges here. We do offer one other class. It's a crossover between our math department and our business department. We are teaching it for the first time this year as a crossover with math and business, and it's our money management and personal finance. In this day and age, a very beneficial and useful course.
Hi, everyone. Thank you all for coming. My name is Kelly O'Neill, and I'm representing the science department. I teach general biology and practical biology, so most of your students have a good chance of having me as their teacher. The other 9th grade teacher is Mrs. Kromko. So all ninth grade students will take biology in some way, shape, or form. So it would either be practical, regular, or honors biology. All of those courses will prepare them at the end of the year for that Keystone Biology exam. So general biology is or regular biology is what most students will be taking. We are meet 5 days a week, 1 period a day. There is a lab component to it. We don't have extra time for it, but it is incorporated in. Practical biology also meets 1 period per day. It's a slower pace, as Mrs. Pinto discussed with the levels. It's a slower pace, a little less depth, but still has some lab components to it and still prepares them just as well for that Keystone exam. Honors biology is 6 days a week. So I know Mrs. Pinto elaborated on this. I just want to kind of reinforce that the honors biology meets 1 period extra a week. So it has a double period. That double period once a week is used for lab activities, much more in-depth lab activities and analysis. It is also used for assessments. The honors biology class is definitely requires a much larger amount of out-of-class work. They need to be good readers. They need to be have a strong work ethic. There is also a strong writing component as part of that class. The prerequisites are very important. If your child is looking at that, please pay attention to those prerequisites. They're very important to help them be successful. All of them will prepare them for any of the courses coming up though. So after biology, which all ninth graders will take, they have a wide variety of different classes they can take. Biodiversity, which is an environmental type of science. Earth and space science, which is, as it says, like your geology type things, as well as astronomy. Anatomy and physiology, there's 1 and 2. Animal science is taught by our agricultural teacher, Mrs. Poley. She also teaches the horticulture and plant science course. And then we have physics 1 and 2, inorganic and organic chem, honors inorganic, an advanced biology class, which is a really great half-year course that often pairs nicely with our anatomy and physiology too. And then the AP biology, which also has dual enrollment with it. The only thing to really pay attention to in those courses is the sequential nature. Some of them you have to take one before the other. But really your child can, after biology, really figure out what they love about science and go that direction because there's a ton of offerings for them.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Barbara Lutet, and I am the Business Education Department Chair. I'm also the Career Pathways Coordinator. As you can see, there are over a dozen just opportunities or different courses you can take in the Business Department, as well as volunteer work study and apprenticeship programs that are available mostly in your senior year. If you have an entrepreneurial spirit, if you want to own your own business someday, help run a business, work in marketing, finance, accounting, any type of business, you can get a good basis for business courses or a good foundation on which to build when you want to go on to further education. Whether it's taking the money management, personal finance, which anybody and everybody could use to help them in their future lives, as well as our career preparation course, which would help would help a student actually help a student with their career, their senior project. You can find that in the Business Education Department. Remember, high school is a time for you to try different things, to take different electives, see what you're interested in, and to help you decide what you want to do with your future. So give business education courses a try. Thank you.
Hi there, I'm Jamie Brown. I teach Spanish and I'm the head of the World Language Department. As you can see, we offer 4 levels of Spanish as well as AP Spanish. Spanish 3, 4, and AP are all dual enrollment courses where you can get college credit. We also have the accelerated track. So if you're very successful and passionate about Spanish after Spanish 1, you can be recommended for Advanced Spanish 2. And then if you continue Advanced Spanish 3 and then take AP. Our AP students have been very successful so far in the existence of the program. We also offer a medical Spanish semester course that goes well with the Health Occupations program that Mrs. Park runs. We also offer 4 years of Latin for our second language at the high school. The thing I'd like to emphasize the most, though, is that we really try to um, make our classes relevant and real world applicable by using conversation and cultural experiences. Some of you guys are probably at the age where you remember us coming to the elementary school and middle school and doing some of these activities. The students have written stories in Spanish and presented them to third graders, put on plays for the fourth graders at Lakeside. We usually do our Christmas caroling. All of this this year, because of COVID, is not quite the same, but normally, and hopefully next year we'll be back on track. But we celebrate Dia de los Muertos, Hispanic Heritage Month, and other culturally relevant events, so that once you're done taking these languages, you're able to apply them and relate them better to your life in your real world. Thank you.
So I'm back again. Again, my name is Sean Gehring, and not only am I a social studies teacher here at the high school, I'm also one of the technology and engineering education teachers, as well as driver ed. So you're going to see me once more tonight. As Mrs. Lutat said, electives really do offer opportunities. And that's what high school is about. It's your opportunity. If you're not really sure what you want to do, we offer a wide variety of courses and electives here in the high school for you to try things and try new things. Mrs. Pinto and Mrs. Scarfalato talked about, those career pathways and trying to just get you onto a path of what you want to do in the future. And it's okay if you don't know what you want to do. And that's where the electives program comes in, and especially the technology and engineering courses. We have a wide variety of things to offer. If you're interested in, if you like taking video on your phone and recording your friends, or posting stuff on YouTube and having your own YouTube channel, then digital video editing 1 and 2, or television productions. Those are classes that are really great opportunities and really kind of move you in a direction of digital communications. And that's the age that we're in right now, with all the social media stuff that is out there and how we communicate. It is very much electronic and very much on screen. And digital video, that kind of gets you prepared for, simple editing techniques and simple camera techniques. Just if you like taking your own pictures and doing those things. The television productions class, and there is a level 1 all the way through level 8. And this year will be the first year. I will have a senior this year that will have taken all 8 levels of television productions. And his plan is to go off and work at ESPN. And he's already had some people from ESPN talk to him. He was also our MC for the football games this fall for our streaming of Honesdale High School football team. So television productions, we look at that class as, in the TV studio, and we set that up accordingly. We produce a weekly program each week for the student body here that we air at the high school. And it's informational, it's entertaining, and we have a lot of fun doing that. So you're learning the aspects of TV production, whether that's commercials or script writing, movie making. And even if you don't want to really be on camera, that's okay too. You can be behind the scenes, you can work the camera, you can work the editing software, but it really gives you an experience into the world of communications. And that transitions not only onto the TV side, but also radio communications and DJing. I am also the technical director for the high school auditorium. So that's the lights, that's the sound, that's all those technical aspects that TV productions can kind of lead you into it and give you a glimpse of what that has to offer. We have our Power Technologies classes, Power Tech 1 and 2, that start out with small engines and robotics and building of power components. And then in our level 2, we move on to the Chevy big block 350 engine and a complete teardown of that. So anybody that's looking into a trade in the automotive industry or heavy diesel mechanics, that's a great opportunities, great classes to consider taking here at the high school. As Mrs. Scarfilato mentioned already, our welding program and our metal technologies classes are absolutely fantastic. I've taught that. I taught that this year as well in our metal shop. And our metal one, we start out with basic metalworking. We look at oxyacetylene torches and gas welding to sheet metal work, all the way into stick electrode welding, really to move you forward in a career that in welding. And several years ago, I had a senior that took Metal 1 as a senior, never picked up a welder before. And by the end of that year, that student had an agreement with the Alaskan pipeline companies. And he went to Alaska after he graduated. He went through a 6-week training program on the pipeline, and right out of the gate, he was making $80 an hour. So you really can't beat that. I've talked to him. He is back in the area now because he put in his time, and really, he doesn't have to work all that much. He made all his money. He just kind of set that aside and put that into savings, and it's great opportunities that he learned here just in a Metal 1 class that really set him up for success in the future. From the Metal 2, we go into the precision machining and advanced welding. Again, we're getting into more of the MIG and more of the TIG and true engineering aspects of metallurgy and how that works and the structural integrity of that. We have our drafting program, drafting 1, 2, and 3, and our accelerated drafting with an introduction to engineering and design. So looking into, housing and building houses and designing and drafting houses and automobiles. It's learning how to use the AutoCAD program and Revit and Inventor and creating digital representations of houses, of mechanical devices and engines and things like that. That's how we all work together within this department. And what our robotics program does, which is, absolutely fantastic program. We've gone to, the national championship several years. All of that, it's a combined effort within all of our departments. We start out, we kind of look at our drafting students to design and create the specs and the models for what our robot will look like. And then our metal tech students build that and make the components to that. And then our power tech students assemble it. And it's a great program to get involved in as well. Our residential construction, our wood technologies, if you've ever driven behind the school on our back access road, you'll see our sheds that we build. Mr. Rickert and the residential construction kids, they are ready to leave Honesdale High School, industry ready to secure positions in the construction field, whether that is in true construction, exterior construction, or interior construction, masonry, plumbing, electrical. We are providing them with the skills ready to really head out into that workforce and be successful in that. And of course, we have our yearbook is also the Honesdale High School yearbook is part of our technology and engineering courses. I want to stress again, just these are opportunities. And I know Mrs. Scarfilato touched on those career pathways and those programs of study. Even if you're not quite sure if that's really what you want to go into, you can still take any one of these classes. You don't have to lock yourself into that program of study. So if you want to take a Wood Tech 1 just to see if you like that, then take that. If you want to take television productions or Metal 1, then take those classes. You don't have to be part of that program of study to reap the benefits of what these opportunities are here in the technology and engineering education department.
Good evening, everybody. Thanks for being here. I'm Kathy Higgins, the art department chair. Basically, we have a similar protocol for our classes as well. where we build upon one another. As a ninth grader and you're interested in art, a couple of the classes that you can take are Foundations in Art, which is a two-dimensional art class, drawing, painting. We also have Beginning Game Design, Basic Photography 1 and 2, where you work with digital photography and you work with film. And we also offer computer graphics. And we have a class called Art Exploration, which is designed for students that may not be able to fit art classes into their schedules 5 days a week. So we work with you in your study halls, and this is just really an opportunity for you to come on in and do some artwork. And then we build upon those. So your sophomore year, if you are into the two-dimensional art, you would consider going into Studio Art 1 and then proceed the following years with 2 and 3. If you're interested in pottery, we have Pottery 1, which is a semester course. So in a school year, in sophomore year, you would take Pottery 1 and 2. And then there's 3 and 4. We also have wheel throwing, and there is the prerequisite of taking some pottery classes, at least one pottery class before signing up for wheel throwing. And this year, we're really excited because this is our first year that we're offering AP Art and Design, where a student is going to take the AP exam and submit a portfolio. We're very excited. We have 5 students that are going on into secondary education for art, whether it be art education, graphic design. We have someone that's interested in storyboarding, and we have all 5 applying to some of the top art schools in the United States. And we also finally have our senior portfolio, which is basically getting them ready for their portfolio to apply to colleges and for our senior art show. And that about sums it up. We welcome you. It is a wonderful idea if you are someone who is very artsy and foresees themselves maybe going in that path, to definitely sign up for Foundations in Art freshman year so that we can get you through the other courses that we have throughout the years. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Martha Curtis, and I am the choral director at Honesdale High School. And I just wanted to talk to you a few minutes about what our chorus program offers. So our chorus program, the regular chorus, which is a non-auditioned group. So there is no audition that you need to do to be selected. You just sign up for the course and you're a part of it. And that group meets 2 days a week on Tuesdays and Thursdays for one period. And they participate in 2 after-school concerts, one at the holiday season and one in the spring. But then along with chorus, there are a lot of opportunities that are extracurricular that you can get involved in if you love to sing and you just want to become more involved. We have an auditioned group, so they do have to perform an audition for our chamber choir, and that meets after school once a week from 3 to 5, but we do countless community events around this time of the year. We're usually Christmas caroling all over. We Christmas carol downtown, we Christmas carol at nursing homes. We have performed on the WBRE PA Live TV show. We have performed in Hershey, Pennsylvania at the school board conference. So we've been selected and volunteered to sing at numerous events. And it's a little bit of a commitment, but like I said, it's an extracurricular. So it's only if you wish to get involved in that group. We also, if you're a part of chorus, have the opportunity to audition for things like the PMEA District Chorus and Region Chorus and All-State Chorus, which are usually a 3-day festival that is at a different school and a lot of fun. You sing with 160 of the top vocalists from Northeast PA and then moving on to the whole state of PA. So those are just some of the opportunities. You can really be as involved as just a course that's 2 days a week with 2 concerts, or you can get involved and do many of the extra groups that we offer and perform. But it is a really great group to be a part of. And we really pride ourselves on inclusion of everybody and feeling like a big family. And we have a lot of fun and try to make it as relaxing as possible and enjoyable as possible. Along with chorus, I actually do teach other courses. You'll see there is a Music Theory 1 and a Music Theory 2 course, which is really digging into music, like note reading, scales, intervals, all the inner workings of music. A little bit of writing music, not so much focused on that, but giving you the tools so that if you do wish to write your own music, that you would be able to do that, learning the theory behind music. And I also teach classic piano 1 and 2, which is a half-year course for class piano 1 and half a course for class piano 2. And we accept people of all levels. So you can be an experienced piano player and join the class, and I will start working with you at the level that you are currently at. Or you can be an absolute beginner and not reading any kind of music at all and never have played piano before, and we can start you from the very beginning and work with you in that manner. The course does work well if you do class piano 1 and class piano 2 within the same year, so that everything is fresh in your brain. But another great music elective for those people who are just interested in music. We also do have a spectacular music lab, keyboard stations attached to computers. So we do use the computers for the technology aspect of it. We have ProLogic, we have MainStage, we have GarageBand, we have Finale, all on these computers that we use throughout class piano and music theory to aid in the courses. So I will turn it over to my counterpart, Mrs. Betty Ann Robson, to talk about the instrumental program.
Thank you, Mrs. Curtis. As Mrs. Curtis said, I'm the other music teacher in the music wing. I teach band. And so as part of band, when students sign up, they are signing up for, it's a co-curricular class. And they are signing up also for the marching band option that goes along with concert band. A marching band starts in August, and we play for the football games until the football season is over, which is usually at the end of October. Once marching band is over, football season is over, we move into concert band, and we prepare for the Christmas concert and for the spring concert. At the end of the year, marching band comes back a little bit. We usually do a couple parades around Memorial Day. Along with that is our select group, which is wind ensemble. You heard Mrs. Curtis talk about chamber choir. We also have wind ensemble, which in the springtime usually turns into more of a jazz band and a big band performing group. We're performing out into the community. We usually have one of the students, we have a lot of crossover students who are in band and chorus, and some of those students join us to sing along with us when we go out into the community and play. Other classes that I teach are the Instrumental Music 1 class, which is new this year for students who perhaps started playing an instrument in 5th grade or 6th grade. Maybe along the way they decided that life got a little too busy and they decided to give it up for a little while and want to come back. They can always come back and continue learning that instrument, or they could sign up for a brand new instrument, learning to play any of the band instruments coming into the high school. I also teach the musical theater 1, 2, 3, and 4 classes. We have several students who now are seniors and deciding this year that they would like to continue in college, majoring in theater of some form, either musical or just drama. So that prepares them for their classes once they leave the high school and go on to college, and for the whole audition process. I would also like to say that we have several students every year who decide to become music majors. And music majors are not just music education. We have students who are off music technology, music business, music therapy. And so we have several students every year who leave the high school and decide that they want to continue their love of music and turn it into their profession when they graduate from college. I'd like to thank you all for coming tonight, and hope to see you next year in the music wing. We'd love to have everybody. Thank you.
I'd like to jump in here for our Family and Consumer Science Department. One aspect of this department, if you like food, this is the place to be. We have a Foods 1 and 2 class. We also have a more advanced cooking and baking class called Culinary Essentials 1 and 2. If you like to partake of different foods across the world, we have an International or World Foods 1 and 2 class. And then for those of you who might be looking at having to become a little bit more self-sufficient when you head off to post-secondary or your job, or vocational or trade school, we do have a Cooking for Seniors class where you can develop some skills so that as you get past the age of 18, you won't starve to death. We also have other courses that are not as related to foods classes. We have a class in hospitality, which has to do with the recreation industry and the hotel business. We also have interior design, which I know has become quite popular on HGTV. If you're interested in working with very young children, we have a child care and development course, which is exceptionally beneficial if you're thinking about a career as an elementary teacher or a career in daycare. And we also have a crafts class so that you can explore, again, like Mrs. Higgins said, maybe some of your more artistic talents.
Okay, I'm back again for the third time. Our driver education program here at the high school. It is a driver education theory is a 1 semester course, and it is part of our graduation requirements. And depending on the program that you're looking into, one of the health ox programs, you need to talk to your guidance counselor to really find out when you need to take that, whether it's your freshman year or whether it would wait until your sophomore year as you get closer to age 16 to meet the state driving requirement. On top of that theory course, we also offer an optional practice driving practicum. That is completely optional. That is up to you and your parents to decide if you want to do that. And that involves 6 hours of behind the wheel driving time with one of the driver ed teachers, one of us here at the high school. And what that does, that 6 hours of driving time is during study halls, early in the mornings, homeroom, after school. We kind of try to work that in during your schedule, but really that prepares you to successfully complete your driving test. And right now, with COVID and everything that's been taking place, driver licensing centers are overbooked. Our Honesdale location is still closed for giving tests other than the photo option to have your photo taken. So being able to for the students to take their driving test with us here at the high school is a great opportunity. And again, we coach them, we go through, and we're not going to test anybody that we don't feel is ready to earn their driver's license. In order to take that test with us, they have to complete the 6 hours of behind the wheel driving. And I know, talking to a lot of parents and a lot of kids, over the years, we've seen a lot of seniors, they get to their senior year, they still don't have their driver's license, and they graduate without their driver's license. Even if you're a little fearful of getting your driver's license, or don't have a car right now and your family situation, it just doesn't work out, I would highly suggest that you get your license, even if you don't plan to drive. It is so much easier to do it with us here at the high school than it is to try to do that on your own. by getting your driver's license that provides the students with the photo ID and real ID documentation that they need for a lot of the things that they'll do later on in life. Photo IDs are required for a lot of documentation and copies of that, and traveling for the real ID documentation to get to an airport and that. It is far less expensive. It's free really to do it here at the high school. The entire licensing process is done on school time for free, other than the normal PennDOT fees that apply for their permit application and things like that. There's no DMV waiting time to schedule your test. You sign up with one of us, and we get you scheduled in. We do those 6 hours with you once your test date gets close, and then we can turn right around and test you. If you're going through a third-party tester, so this is after the fact, after they would leave Honesdale High School, that cost can be anywhere between $100 to $2,000. And because driver licensing centers right now are so far booked up, for a lot of our sophomores, as they're turning 16, it's a 6-month waiting period before they're eligible to take their test. The day they get their permit, they pass their permit, they'll get online and try to schedule a test. And right now we're looking between 6 to 8 months of waiting time. So it's just an easier opportunity. And we encourage our students to take the practicum, the practice driving practicum with us, because it takes care of all those hassles. And again, it's significantly cheaper, really free, other than those PennDOT fees. There's insurance discounts that come with some insurance companies by us signing off that they've completed that 6-hour practicum. And really, for a lot of employment opportunities, you look at businesses that are hiring, they all require their employees to have a driver's license. They need to be able to get to that place of employment. So even if they might not have a car right now when they're 16, or you might not feel comfortable letting them drive right now, that's okay. They can still get their license. They still have that, and they can drive when they're ready, when they feel comfortable. And all along the way, that's building experience. And that's important experience in now and then into the future.
I'd like to thank Mr. Gehring for his presentation there on the driver's ed. I would like to just let everyone know, students that do have an individualized education plan, the high school does continue to support you with all the accommodations that you are used to in the 8th grade. We continue to work with you to make sure to build even more independence, more self-motivation, more skills that you can utilize to be successful. And Mrs. Maria West, she is our department chairperson for our instructional services. And Mrs. West and her team of teachers are, again, tremendous resources that can help students with their study skills, that can help with their test preparation, that can help with homework completion, as well as a variety of tasks necessary in order to be successful at the next level. I know that Mr. Gehring and a couple of our other counselors mentioned, it is a step up. When you went from 5th grade to the 6th grade at the middle school, that was a step up in terms of the expectations and rigor. And we don't want to scare anyone, but we do want people to know what they're getting into. And there is a step up that you'll need to take in order to be successful, but we're very confident that you can do it. We're also very confident that we have the resources here to assist you. So I just wanted to mention that our instructional services do continue through Mrs. West and her department. I'll turn it over to Mr. Reiprich. Well, folks, I apologize. I will go ahead and continue.
Sorry about that. I got it.
Sorry, Mr. Rightbridge. Go ahead, sir.
My apologies.
No problem.
Hi, I'm Paul Rightbridge, and I'm one of the counselors in the high school, and I have students with the last names starting with H through O. Our 21-22 curriculum guide is currently up on the Honesdale High School webpage, 5th tab down on the right-hand side. Be sure to check out all the great classes and electives you heard about tonight and their prerequisites. Counselors will be meeting with your students to add classes to his or her course requests prior to our Christmas vacation. Adding and dropping courses. As you can see, it says schedule changes are allowed during the first week of school. We're mainly looking for scheduling errors, such as a boys PE instead of girls PE, or an elective that was not requested. Students must maintain 5.6 credits. Students may drop course up to 0.6 credits. And as far as adding courses, there is way too much work missed after the first 2 weeks to add a class at that point. And that's why we are requesting that we do the schedule changes in the first 2 weeks of school. This is the position of the high school president. And a parent signature, of course, is required for any schedule change. This is your basic schedule with your 4 core subjects: guidance, health 9, PE, and up to 2 full year electives. Foreign language for many students takes up one of those periods. Band and chorus takes up another period for a number of students as well. And as you have heard tonight, many other electives can fit within the 2 elective spots. One last thing, study halls. They're not a bad thing to have. Study halls, especially as a freshman that is involved in a number of extracurricular activities, it gives them time to do homework and study for tests. And now to Mr. Petro to close it out.
So, folks, I want to thank you again very much for your patience throughout our presentation. I'd like to thank all of our presenters tonight. Please, if you have questions, please feel free to type them into the chat window at this time, and I will do my best to hang in there with you and answer any questions that you might have. Okay? I would just encourage people to remain muted. If you're not able to access the chat function, please feel free to unmute yourself and verbally ask your question if necessary, and we will do our very best in order to do that. Before we open it up for the chat, I would definitely like to thank our middle school counselors, Mr. Diefenbach from the Preston Area School, Mrs. Grease from the Damascus Area School, and then Mrs. Murray from the Wayne Highlands Middle School. If you have questions, they are great resources for you to be able to ask questions so that you can begin to think about the courses that you'd like to take and the career pathways that you would like to pursue. If you have a question that they're unable to answer, you're more than welcome to contact the high school. As you can tell, we have many teachers this evening who are presenting. They're very passionate about their subject areas. They have a tremendous amount of knowledge about their areas, and they would also be happy to answer any questions that you have. Our high school guidance counselors can help you if you have questions about college or the military or jobs and careers or vocational schools as well. So please don't hesitate to ask questions. All right. This is being recorded. We did have a question in our chat. So yes, this is being recorded, and we will be posting this presentation on our Honesdale High School website so that it is prominently displayed so that you'll be able to easily access it and use it for future reference. I could also send this presentation to Mr. Diefenbach, Mrs. Grease, and Mrs. Murray because they may have different media outlets through their school, whether it's Google Classroom or whether it's some type of social media or their web pages. They may be able to post that for you as well. They may have access to student emails, and so they might be able to get it to you that way. Okay? I had another question in the chat. Do the 8th graders that took Algebra 1 last year, so I'm assuming that question means that they were in Algebra 1 as a 7th grader, do they have to take the Keystone to graduate? And so the answer to that question is no. Because of COVID-19, if a student was in what we call a Keystone Trigger course, it means last year they took algebra, but the Keystones did not occur in the spring of the year in which they took algebra. No, they do not have to take that class, and they are exempt then as part of that cohort because of that COVID-19 year where they do not have to take that Keystone, okay? So I hope that answers that question. Do we have any other questions in the chat window? Any other questions that you'd like to type in the chat? I don't see any. If there are other questions that you would prefer to ask verbally, please feel free to unmute yourself. You can ask your question verbally. We'll try to do that in as orderly a manner as we can. Any questions out there? Well, I'll tell you what, folks, I can't thank you enough for your patience. I know it's been a long day, and then to join us this evening. I really appreciate how you take such great interest in your child's well-being and in your child's education. Please know that here at Wayne Highlands, we do truly love our students. We absolutely want them to be successful, not only in academics, but we want them to be successful as individuals. And so we want them to blossom in terms of athletics, in terms of art, in terms of band and chorus, in terms of hands-on trades like drafting, wood, metal, power tech, technology with televisions and computers, business. So please make sure to review our course curriculum guide online. Make sure to review this presentation. Make sure to check in with your middle school counselor and really continue to take an active role in determining what courses you'd like, what careers you'd like to follow. Again, thank you to all of our parents for all your support, not only tonight, but throughout the years as your children enter high school. And please, as your children get older, please feel free to stay just as involved, even though you want to give them more independence. Please feel free to stay just as involved in their academics as you were in their early elementary years. We would appreciate that support as your children proceed through. So again, thank you very much. I don't see or hear any other questions. So I'm going to go ahead and conclude tonight's presentation. Please have a great night and a great end to your week.